My name is Gonzalez, and I am competing for Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds, the Flyweights. So Eddie was like, we've got the Flyweight tournament, you're competing in it, right? And I was like, yeah, of course. So I did my first Combat Jiu-Jitsu last year, and I fell in love with it. It is so similar to me to my ground game in MMA. And I really just like grew to it because not only is it working my jiu-jitsu, it's forcing me to rep and tighten my jiu-jitsu up, but it's forcing me to tighten my striking game, my striking grappling game up. So I love it. It's a win-win for me. I get to compete in a different sport. I get to do something without stand-up, but I also get to work my MMA. I competed in Monterrey, and it was just phenomenal. The match itself, the energy was amazing. Man, that was such a great match. I went in there and I knew that I wanted to implement my game. I was not accepting anything else, and I went in, I got a takedown, I got on top, I used my striking and my heavy pressure from my MMA game, which eventually led me to a submission, and then I broke her arm. I have been competing in MMA, mixed martial arts, no holds barred, pancration since I was 11 years old. So more than half of my life I've been involved in MMA of some sort. And so this is just one of those things. When I was a kid, I gravitated towards the grappling and the striking. So Combat Jiu-Jitsu I think the sport was made for me, honestly. I train under Boogie, Richie Martinez at 10th Planet San Diego. I'm a 10th Planet freak. Hey.
Super excited to be here. It's an honor to be in headquarters. This is actually my very first class here. It's like you gotta know your warm-ups, you gotta know your drills, you gotta know your shit. He throws it at you, he shows you once, and you gotta make it happen. So it's a lot different teaching, a different style of teaching. I love it because although he didn't spend so much details on one specific technique, I learned an abundance of things from different positions, different places, different concepts, and it was so cool how much I learned in that hour.
We were called the freaks. Freaks don't sleep. There's training from 6 a.m. till 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. We have 4 different gyms that we can rotate through. I like to train with Boogie. I like to train with PJ. And it's just, man, the atmosphere is just a bunch of hungry savages. Like, there's 30 women sometimes in a class, and they're hungry. They're all anxious to grow from beginner to advanced. There's a lot of female MMA fighters, a lot of male competitors, jiu-jitsu competitors. So it's just a hungry gym. I'm so grateful to be a part of the freak system.
Combat Jiu-Jitsu. There you go.
To be able to control my body and my movements. I mean, we've got long matches. These are 10-minute matches with 3 rounds of EBI overtime. You have to be able to relax in there or you're gonna burn out. I'm not just competing against another MMA fighter, I'm competing against high-level jiu-jitsu girls that solely focus on jiu-jitsu. So their techniques are gonna be much tighter than your average MMA fighter who's got to train striking and wrestling and strength and conditioning and everything else that's involved in MMA. So I think that for me, when it comes to this type of a camp, I just focus on tightening my techniques up, making sure that everything's sharp, and just going through as much as I can technically to tighten up my jiu-jitsu, and then I always add in my striking. I'm always training striking whether I'm competing or not. I think that Combat Jiu-Jitsu has an MMA flavor to it. I think that it's all about the takedown. It's all about who's on top and able to create damage and to create those openings through the striking. And if you are on the bottom, the ability to get back up to either sweep, scramble, and create that top game to strike. Because I want to strike. I'm here to strike. I'm trying to hurt someone. You haven't really seen me on the scene in these last few months, and you know, some people think I'm not training, and I have been. I'm just working quietly, and I'm always a grinder. I'm always learning. I'm anxious to learn and so anxious to grow as a martial artist, and these are my best years. So expect an exciting fight. I'm coming to strike. I'm coming to bring my experience from MMA. I believe that my MMA experience is going to level me out with the higher level jiu-jitsu girls, and I'm bringing that. I'm bringing my MMA experience, my top heavy game, my striking ability into this. So be ready, because I'm ready to slap out.
Awesome.
My name's Nikki Sullivan. I train at Atos HQ in San Diego, California, and I'm getting ready to do some combat jiu-jitsu. I competed about 3 years ago at EBI 12, the female flyweights, and that was my first EBI experience. Super cool. It was the first all-female tournament that they did, and it was a lot of fun. I ended up getting a scissor choke about a year later. I think I was on EBI 16. And it was neat to go into that one having some experience with the EBI, and I was training at Atos at that point. So yeah, just a little bit different training and a little more confidence going in. I won my first 2 matches and then lost in the semis, but so yeah, getting a little better every time, and now we're throwing in some slaps, and I'm excited for the challenge. It's gonna be fun. Yeah, you know, Eddie hit me up and it was like, you want to do some combat jiu-jitsu? And I was like, why not? You know, let's do it. I think I have trained some striking before. I have a background in some other traditional martial arts. I have a black belt in Hapkido. I've done some striking. It's not what I do now, but the combat is nice because it gives you a little more realistic idea of where you can get hit in jiu-jitsu without actually getting punched. So it's not quite MMA, but it's a little more intense, and I like that. I think it's giving me some incentive to be safe with my jiu-jitsu, to protect my head, things like that I think are important that I forget sometimes. So I like that, and it's just something a little different. It's a new challenge. I wanted to try it out and see what it's like. So I'm from Indiana, from kind of the middle of the country, no ocean. And I just decided at one point that I wanted to come out here. I wanted to train with the best that I could. I wanted to push myself to see how good I could get, and I knew I had to train with the best to do that. So it was a big risk, and I kind of left everything behind, left a good job, left a relationship, and I moved out here, and man, I've never regretted it. It's the best thing I've ever done with my life. Now I'm just doing this full time. Honor's great. Like, he always, no matter what comes up, whether it's a super fight or combat or anything, like whatever the rules set, he's always happy to let us train for that, and you know, let us, even if everybody else is training for something else, we can take a corner and like get the training that we need, you know, whether it's EBI overtime or getting slapped in the face a little bit. But yeah, it's really nice to have teammates who have experience, even just with the rule set. So if I'm not sure about something, I can be like, hey, we can't hit while we're standing, right? Yeah, just on the ground. You know, they already have experience with it, so that gives me a little confidence. When they train with me, they can give really good feedback. Kayla and I trained a bunch for her combat jiu-jitsu super fight that she had, and that was a lot of fun. I didn't really know what it was gonna be like, and I know in the beginning we were a little tentative about hitting each other because they're friends and you don't want to hurt your friend, but then we found once one person landed a really good slap, then it was on, and we just had a lot of fun with it. It's hard not to laugh about it, but yeah, like you can have a really good time with it. It's a balance, right? You know, my goal when I'm training right now is to try to find how can I position myself so I can't be hit easily, and I think that's important, but then also figuring out like how could I use a strike to set something up, or how can I get a good enough position that I can hit them and they can't hit me, and that, you know, maybe it's sadistic, but it feels really good to like get a really good mount and just be able to kind of pa. So yeah. They train like animals. Yeah, I think the nice thing about Atos is we have a lot of different styles. So it's not like we just have, you know, smash passers, we just have people who do the berimbolo. Like there are a lot of different styles, even in the girls that I train with and the guys too. So I think that's helpful. It means that, you know, I feel pretty prepared no matter who I go up against. I'm excited to face some new people that I haven't faced before and to see, you know, how does my style and my jiu-jitsu hold up against somebody that maybe might not be as technical in jiu-jitsu, but is really well versed in the strategy of MMA and of getting hit, or not getting hit, of hitting, you know, and like especially maybe even not engaging on the ground. So I'm interested to see how that plays out.
8 more rounds, 8 more rounds.
I think it's a nice way that you can maybe make it a little more intense, a little more realistic without getting a concussion, hopefully. So I think that's nice. You can, because it's a shock when you get hit, it's not really hurting you, but it is like, you just hit me in the face, you know, and then it's like, I don't want to get hit in the face again, so I got to figure out how to not let that happen. I think it's good. There are times when it's good to, like, it forces you to like get your head away from them, and that's a good reaction to have in jiu-jitsu. But then there are times, like even today, where I found they hit me as I was coming in, and I was like, I'm just gonna take it and grab onto the leg anyways, because this is what I want, and like I can take a little bit of damage to get it. So it's weighing those options. Like sometimes when you're grinding every day, you forget that you love it, and it's okay. You're not gonna love it every day, but it was nice to remember I do love this. This is something that I chose to do for my life because I love it and because I think it's beautiful. And so really focusing on trying to just make my jiu-jitsu perfect and make it beautiful, and the art of it and just the game, the fun of jiu-jitsu. I'm excited to just bring my style of jiu-jitsu out and then see how, you know, adding in some strikes is gonna change that up a little bit. I'm excited to slap some girls in the face. I'm excited to, yeah, just see, you know, can my like inverting and my leg attacks and all of that, will that still hold up when people are trying to hit me? And I don't know, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
When I first saw combat jiu-jitsu, gosh, I think it was about 4 years ago, a little under 4 years ago, I thought that's the sport for me. I thought, oh my gosh, what if they open up 125 women weight class? What if they do that? What if they have a belt? And I told all of my friends this, and I was so excited that there could possibly be something in the future like that. I did not know that it would come so soon, and I did not know that I would be so lucky to have the opportunity to fight for the first flyweight championship, world championship, a belt. I didn't know. In fact, Eddie Bravo was like, you want in on this? And I was like, tell me I'm not dreaming, because this is amazing. I love MMA. Like I said before, I am an Invicta fighter. I've been fighting for Invicta for over a year now. I have over 4 fights. I've fought in the tournament for Invicta, so I feel like I have a good background in this CJJ tournament setting. I love the strikes. I don't mind getting hit. I think it's all fun. I have competed in EBI rules, a type of rule setting, for a while now, since I've been with 10th Planet. And I love EBI rules. I love the combat jiu-jitsu rules, which are slightly different than EBI. I like the EBI overtime. There's just no denying a winner. Super lucky to have been a part of it. I think Eddie Bravo has an incredible promotion, regardless of what promotion it is, and the way he sets the tournaments up seem to work pretty effortlessly. So I'm excited. When I was 5 years old, my grandmother signed me up for Taekwondo. That was my first martial arts experience because gymnastics just wasn't enough. I'm super, super blessed and happy to have the opportunity to be competing in Invicta and have this incredible opportunity with CJJ. The lockdowns in Portland have greatly affected my training. I have to be really careful about who I'm training with and make sure that we're all protected, and if we're not protecting ourselves and we're all tested, and make sure that we keep each other safe during this time. It also makes finding training partners a little bit harder because we have to navigate under a stricter policy of protection. With the addition of palm strikes, it immensely changes the grappling game into, I think, a faster paced, more, less technical, more aggressive type of match that is more fun to watch. My style of jiu-jitsu is a top-heavy game. I get stuck. I've competed in a lot of tournaments, and I get stuck with people that want to play guard with me, want to kind of like settle and relax in a guard position. And with the strikes, it's just going to be so much easier to get the motion going, to get the action going. I'm definitely an action fighter. I love to keep the pressure on, and that's what I intend to do. I've had a lot of what I would consider maybe like tragedies. So not necessarily coming out on top, or not persuading the judges enough. And honestly, I've been in this slump where I'm waiting. I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting for the right opportunity to use my wrestling and use my jiu-jitsu, which I think is beautiful. I have beautiful jiu-jitsu, but I haven't been able to use it because I keep waiting for the perfect opportunity. And if you wait for the perfect opportunity, it'll never happen. It'll never show up. And I'm excited to take every single opportunity, every single second, and to be a relentless competitor. I'm excited to come in and get TKOs across the board. Honestly, I intend to have no mercy and just have a ball, put on a show, and win that belt. I want to take that belt home.
Hi, my name is Brianna Ste-marie, and I'm a brown belt training with Brazilian top team in Canada. I got started in martial arts through my dad. He's actually a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and he's been kind of doing all sorts of martial arts since the 80s, boxing, wrestling, judo. He's done a bit of everything really. And then when Brazilian top team opened up in Montreal, he started training there, and he received his black belt about 3 years ago now. So I used to think it was some kind of weird like karate thing that my dad did, and then one day I finally tried a class and I was like, oh, this is actually really cool. So that's kind of how I got into it. My major accomplishments, I just received my brown belt, so I've only competed at purple belt up until now, but at purple belt I managed to win gold at the No-Gi Worlds. I won double gold at the No-Gi Pans. I won gold at the Europeans, a bunch of bronze medals in the open class, and I also won the 8 women So-Gi Invitational that happened in October of last year, which was a submission-only style event. I've definitely been training less, but I think I've also been more efficient with my training, so I'll go in for like, as opposed to training twice a day, every day, I'll go in for like one longer session, seeing as like access to the gym is not always available. So I'll train for like 1 2-hour session as opposed to doing 2 trainings in a day. And I've also put in a lot more effort into my strength and conditioning, which I'm grateful for because up until now I kind of haven't put in the time really necessary into that. And I think that's important if I want to be like a full-time athlete, that I act like a full-time athlete and I do strength and conditioning, not only jiu-jitsu. I'm so excited to be invited to compete in Mexico. I emailed so many people to get into this. And then I was so happy when Eddie finally wrote me and offered me the spot. I thought it looked like the coolest event. It looked like a really exciting rule set. I love the rules that like kind of like make it almost impossible to stall. I like that like it forces action. It just seems like a really cool event to be a part of, and it's also like a rule set that I've never competed in. So I'm just really excited to test myself and my jiu-jitsu under a different rule set. And in Mexico, so what more can you ask? So my experience with the addition of palm strikes has kind of been that on top, I feel like not much has changed, because like from like if my opponent is underneath me, there's like a limit to how much like volume and power they can like generate from underneath. So on top, I feel kind of relatively the same, but playing playing guard for sure, there were some adjustments to be made. Like I realized that like open guard and half guard can be a bit of a different story with palm strikes. That being said, like I already have like a bit of a more traditional style of jiu-jitsu, and traditional jiu-jitsu was kind of developed in mind like for vale tudo and like striking and stuff. So I think that the transition to like a striking combat jiu-jitsu rule set, while it had its challenges, it wasn't like totally a different world for me. I watched like Wagner Rocha in his bracket just kind of like destroy people, and I thought, wow, that looks like really intense. But then I also thought like that looks really fun. Like I've always wanted to kind of just have the opportunity to like go at it with someone. But MMA kind of like makes me nervous because of like the head injuries and stuff like that. But then with CJJ, you can kind of test your jiu-jitsu with the addition of strikes without it being maybe as dangerous or intense as like full-on mixed martial arts. And then people criticize like current jiu-jitsu for it being like too much of a sport. So it's kind of cool to see the two worlds collide, of like you have like the modern jiu-jitsu game and see how it like fits in with the addition of strikes, which is kind of what it's like criticized for. But then you also see these instances where like the modern game does really well in like a mixed martial arts context or a combat jiu-jitsu context. You can expect me to do well, and I'm excited to represent Canada on like such a big stage, and I hope that I make my country proud, and I hope that I make my teammates proud. I just hope I fight well. That's all like I ever ask for. Win or lose, I want to be proud of the way I fought. So that's kind of what I'm going out there to do. I've been lucky enough to keep my training like somewhat consistent relative to others, because most of the gyms have been closed pretty much for 8 months. They opened briefly for 1 month in August. I've been lucky enough to keep training, and that's been huge for me. And I really feel for those who have been put in circumstances where they can't train. And I think that it should be respected as something that really helps people on a mental health perspective.
My name is Jessica Delboni. I am a brown belt Jiu-Jitsu. I was born in Espírito Santo, Brazil. I'm from Brazil, but I live and train in Niterói, Rio de Janeiro. My team is PRVT, Paraná Vale Tudo, and I am a Invicta MMA fighter and Ultimate category. I started fight with my 12 years old. My first sport was Taekwondo. I am a black belt. I compete a lot in Taekwondo. I like it, Taekwondo a lot, but I wanted something more. So I decided to start training Jiu-Jitsu in the box when I was 17, and I have 27 years old now, so it's 10 years of Jiu-Jitsu. I live it with my family and trained in Espírito Santo, where I was born. I had 2 fights in 5 years because I didn't have any girls for fight or events in my state. My history is a big history. My family always told that my dream of being a fighter didn't work because I almost never fought, and they wanted me to graduate some. I took less classes so I could train more, and from Tuesday to Sunday I worked at the bar. So I was giving up of my dream. I started to dedicate more myself for my university and get good grades, but I decided to try again. So I tested several managers and I received a reply from a guy who was paired with T10 saying he would work with me, but I would need to come to Rio to train for a few days and let him know how I fight. So I came to Rio, I met Giriard Paraná Sensei, and I saw that there is many girls training together here in PRVT, and besides Jessica Andrade, a former FC champion, and he told me that if I wanted to, I could come to live in Rio, and he would take care of my career and my girlfriend's career too. But the decision to come to live in Rio was mine, and he asked me to stop my university and focus on my career, and he said he was going to put me on top. So 4 years ago, she and I left everything and where I lived in Espírito Santo, and we went to Rio de Janeiro together. I explained to my family that I had to do this because I needed to try it again. So yeah. When I came to Rio, I was 2 fights and 2 victories in my career, and I did 5 fights and 5 wins in 7 months. And I won the prize for the best fight in Brazil in 2017. I stayed with 7 wins and no losses, and I signed my contract with Invicta FC. My team PRBT is my family. My head coach Giriard Paraná is my second dad. So that's it. I'm very happy for participate this event in Cancun because I've never been before in Mexico, Cancun, so I'm really excited, and I hope have good fighters in this event. So that's it. Thank you for the opportunity. This is my history. I hope you like it. Okay, that's it.
Hi guys, my name is Karina Damn. I'm living in Florida. I'm a black belt, Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai and Capoeira. I'm from America Top Team. After this pandemic, I appreciate staying at my home with my family and my friends. It is a joy for me to be part of this amazing event. I'm from Capoeira and MMA. I'm so excited for doing this. It's a new way to compete at BJJ, and I think I enjoy more. I try use my lot of experience in MMA professional in this tournament now. Believe me, I am back in the game. Guys, I still train every day. I keep my focus, my dedication, and I never give up.
Just found out yesterday that I am going to be competing in Combat BJJ World. So this morning I came with some of my team and I ran up and down that hill. We did like 10 sprints up and down. So getting that cardio up real quick for Cancun, baby.
My name is Paulina Granados. I am a purple belt out of Alliance MMA in San Diego, California. The lockdown has affected my training a little bit because like we can't like gather as much anymore and like train normally, and you know people are sick, so I have to kind of like be careful who I train with. But the blessing in all of this is I've learned other ways to train myself. I've learned how to adapt and like do things at home. I've made dummies out of pillows and stuff like that. So I've learned how to train around it. So I'm still training just as hard. I'm just training differently. I got started when I was 21. There was a lot of things going on in my life. One of them was you know, I was partying too much. I was in a really abusive relationship. You know, and I needed an outlet, and also I needed a way to defend myself and you know how to defend myself because I was getting beat up by my boyfriend at the time. And you know, I got out of that relationship, and I was always kind of scared. You know, and now that I have these skills in self-defense and martial arts, I'm not looking over my shoulder all the time, and I'm not scared anymore. I'm proud to say that I've been training in martial arts for 11 years now, which is a big accomplishment for me because my whole life I remember my dad saying that I quit everything. He's always like, you always start something and quit. So this was like a big accomplishment for me, and a big like fuck you to people who you know think that I'm a quitter. I'm not a quitter. I work hard for everything, and you know, I'm here in one of the biggest stages in Jiu-Jitsu, and I'm really excited to be in Cancun representing for my team and San Diego. I'm so stoked to be able to go to Cancun and, you know, fight in this tournament with these girls. Like, you know, I'm going up 2 weight classes, but I don't care. Like, I'm super excited. I saw the roster, and it's like girls that I've looked up to for years. Like Karina Damn, like, dude, I've literally been watching Karina Damn since like 2009, and she's been going for a while before that. So she's a legend in the sport, and I'm just really excited to share the mats with her. Because it's also like my birthday month, so I was like, oh my god, I feel like he's giving me a birthday present. So what I enjoy about combat jiu-jitsu is that part. I want to be able to like slap people, because you know when I do grappling tournaments, no gi especially, I get in these positions where I'm just like, oh my god, I could fuck you up right here if I can hit you. Excuse my language. I'm really excited to be doing combat jiu-jitsu because I've watched it before and I've always like been interested in it, and now I have the opportunity to display what I know, you know, so it's exciting. I think the addition of palm strikes changes the grappling game because like as soon as you get hit, you're gonna react, you know what I mean? You react differently opposed to like when you don't get hit. So I feel like it's gonna create more openings to find submissions, to find more strikes, to better position, and to finish. So I'm really stoked to you know, be able to do that and see the outcome of all these matches. My style of jiu-jitsu benefits from this style of rule set because I am a mixed martial artist, and this is a little bit closer to like what I already do. You know, I can't punch, I can't like strike while standing, but I can smack on the ground, and that's kind of what we do in ground and pound, you know, except with a closed fist. And now I'm going to be able to do it with an open fist and just like test out the new waters and do things that I already know just a little bit differently. So I'm I'm really excited to be able to do it. And I kind of play role with my friends like that. We kind of like already smack each other a little bit. So it'll be fun going full force. So at CJJW flyweight tournament, I will probably be the smallest competitor, but to my advantage, I've got speed, I'm explosive, I'm quick, and I'm really unorthodox. So I'm gonna bring excitement, and I just do a bunch of random things. So it'll be fun to watch, and I hope you guys enjoy and tune in. Being in this pandemic, I have a lot more time to hang out with my family and hang out with my friends and just work on myself. So I'm healthy, and I really appreciate that. You know, I'm really glad I haven't gotten coronavirus yet. So not too long ago, I found out that my cousin has cancer. So a lot of the stuff that I'm doing now is to bring awareness to cancer and you know, raise funds for my cousin to help her how I can. So she lives in Guanajuato, Mexico, and it's really hard, you know, over there with medical stuff. So I just want to let people know to, like, you know, enjoy life. You know, she's young, and we don't know how much time we have with her left. So just enjoy your time with your family. Love and hug the people close to you, and just appreciate time. You know, just be present in your moment, and yeah, just live life with a lot of love, you know.
Timer ready? Jiu-Jitsu, baby. Arriba. Control. Ahí bien, saca.
Mi nombre es Andrea Vazquez, represento al gimnasio Tracy barra Playa del Carmen, y el cinturón que tengo ahora es un cinturón morado. Recientemente me graduaron después del evento de Combat Jiu-Jitsu de calificador en Cancún.
Caderas hacia abajo, estíralas. ¡Claro!
Logros que he tenido dentro de la carrera deportiva y en arte marcial es que he participado en diferentes super fights, las cuales he ganado. Hace una semana me dieron el cinturón morado de Jiu-Jitsu. Gané el calificador para participar en el Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds del 2020 en Cancún.
Bien, André, bien. Eso. Pegando. Presión.
El calificador para mí fue un evento muy importante.
Pegando. Control primero. Eso, control. No pierdes el control. No le das lastimada.
En el que competí contra dos grandes competidoras. La adición de los golpes o las cachetadas dentro del Jiu-Jitsu en la modalidad de Combat Jiu-Jitsu me hace sentir cómoda porque me gusta golpear, me gusta entrenar con cachetadas y me parece algo muy divertido. Antes de practicar o de hacer el Combat Jiu-Jitsu me pareció algo interesante, algo divertido porque puedes golpear, pero no tan al extremo como en el MMA. Entonces ya haciendo la lucha en Combat Jiu-Jitsu me pareció súper divertido y me gustó mucho. Mis inicios en el arte marcial fue a partir de que en mi infancia mi papá nos inculcó el deporte y conocimos a un amigo donde vivíamos que practica Muay Thai. Él nos invitó a participar en alguna clase con él y después encontré una escuela donde empecé a practicar arte marcial. Y otra cosa muy importante es que estoy haciendo lo que me gusta y eso es un gran logro para mí.
¡Go! Ya va atrás, estírala. Estírala, estírala.
Realmente la pandemia y el COVID y el encierro no afectó tanto en lo deportivo porque logré estudiar un poco más en casa y se armó un grupo pequeño con mis coach y algunos compañeros con los que pudimos entrenar un poco más personalizado.
Tienes poco tiempo para el ataque, ahí está. Eso, bien. Piensa. Vamos, ya tienes poco tiempo. A la izquierda.
En este evento, en Combat Jiu-Jitsu 2020 Cancún, de mí pueden esperar lo mejor porque he entrenado demasiado tiempo. He puesto todas mis ganas en el tatami para llegar a donde estamos llegando y pueden esperar todo, voy por todo. Otro mensaje que quiero compartirles es que no tengan miedo de ser ustedes, hagan las cosas por ustedes, sean felices y los invito a que vean el evento por UFC Fightpass este 20 de diciembre. Las mujeres vamos a dar un super show, vamos con todo, las mujeres real power.
Ahora por menor tiempo de escape en overtime.
My name is Tai Tolo. I just got my brown belt yesterday actually from Professor Galval, and I train here at Atos Jiu-Jitsu headquarters here in San Diego, California. I was kind of never really just on my mind, never really training up much, but then Eddie texted Professor, and Professor called me. He goes, "Hey Tai, you know, you just got the invite for this the combat jiu-jitsu." He goes, asked if I wanted to do it, and I was like super down to do it. I was super stoked to get the invite. But yeah, I just been training open hand, all the strikes, and just trying to work out the rules and figure everything out. And yeah, a little bit of a learning curve with like the slaps and everything. It changes the game for sure, but you know, I'm having a lot of fun. I know if you're fighting someone from Atos, you know, most likely, you know, they're gonna be tough, you know, strong, hard to deal with. And you know, Professor, one thing that he really works and emphasizes a lot is, you know, the wrestling and the hand fighting. I think nogi, that's a big part of the game because, you know, that kind of determines, you know, if you want to be on top, then, you know, you got to be able to take your opponent down, you know. So yeah, it's not the same as regular jiu-jitsu. You're gonna have to deal with the slaps. You know, when you're going in for a leg lock entry and they're open the slapping, you know, you're gonna have to deal with it. So, you know, it might limit your jiu-jitsu in some ways, but it forces you to be comfortable getting hit, you know. And some people don't like to be hit, so I know it's only kind of maybe made for some people and some others. I think that's maybe a lot of people are in jiu-jitsu because they don't want to do MMA and get hit, you know. But then, you know, when you cross the two together, it's pretty cool, you know. It creates a different sport. It's almost like different than MMA or jiu-jitsu, you know. It's like its own thing almost. It's cool. It's definitely a good gateway to MMA for sure. You're gonna start to get used to using your jiu-jitsu while there's strikes allowed. You know, maybe it's not close hand obviously, but you're still gonna have to avoid strikes and, you know, get used to making your jiu-jitsu effective when someone's trying, you know, to actually hurt you instead of like, you know, just or I guess they're always trying to hurt you if you're in jiu-jitsu, you know, but actually like physically like slapping you. I would say between me and my brother and I would be the more composed one, you know, like, you know, if I get slapped, like maybe I can like keep myself together. My brother, like he gets slapped and I see it in his face, like he turns into like, you know what I mean? It gets him so mad, but yeah, there he is right there. It's definitely gonna make me want to submit you a lot more, right? It's gonna make me a lot more mad. It's probably gonna open up, you know, some different emotions I didn't have before. So yeah, I'm gonna have to make sure I stay calm. I gotta stay focused, and it's almost like fighting like Wagner in a regular submission, in a regular fight. You know, it's gonna be tough. You know, it's gonna be rough, but you know, you guys gotta keep your game plan.
My name is Hunter Colvin, representing Brothers Jiu-Jitsu. I'm a black belt from Tulsa, Oklahoma. I started martial arts about 13 with traditional martial arts, and then I kind of moved into more MMA style around 18, started doing jiu-jitsu full-time at 18. I'm 25 now, black belt under Pete Wilhelm, and this is my 4th ever CJJ/EBI event. I'm excited. With the quarantine hitting Oklahoma, we kind of had to do a little bit more specialized training. It was just like 3 or 4 guys in here, but it was 3 or 4 guys that were, you know, willing to kind of train through the pandemic, and every one of those roles was really good roles because all the people in here were people who were really devoted to jiu-jitsu, obviously. And I think honestly it like pushed me to get better just having that focused training day in and day out. It's definitely made me appreciate, you know, normalcy and being able to train and have like normal classes with everybody. It definitely put that in perspective. Super stoked to be invited to Cancun to compete. I was actually just out there a couple of weeks ago coaching my friend Todd as he competed with Jams out there. It was an awesome event. I'm looking forward to this one. Coming in to do a special match as opposed to a full tournament. It's a little bit different because I can focus all my energy on that 10 minutes. And you know, you don't have to save anything in the tank, so once the bell rings, we're just gonna go. It being CJJ is a little bit different as opposed to normal jiu-jitsu because from what I've found, you can strike out of, you know, certain scenarios that you wouldn't have that option in jiu-jitsu, such as the leg lock entanglements and you know, getting those top positions like mount and side mount are that much more important. This type of jiu-jitsu does benefit my style. I usually focus on top game and pressure, and it's, you know, good for the CJJ rule set to focus on top game because you're, you know, getting struck if you're on bottom. I have a lot of respect for him and his gym. From what I can gather, he's pretty well-rounded. He's always hunting for the submission. He's a good leg locker, which I think fits good into my game because I'm a good leg lock counter. So we should have a good clash of styles there. I'm excited. I can guarantee you he's going to be coming out for the finish, and so am I. I don't see this one going to overtime. I think it's going to be a shootout. I'm excited to get out there and make it happen.
Suck the air out, suck the life out of Calixto. Pushing himself back to the mat. He didn't want to stay there. He's strikes. Colvin's going to lock it up and finish it.
There it is, and it's done. Hunter Colvin. Rear naked choke victory over Tom Galicchio. Nicely done by Hunter Colvin.
My name is Kyle Bain. I'm a black belt representing 10th Planet Freaks. I got into martial arts when I was in middle school doing wrestling, and then in college I started competing in amateur boxing and eventually transitioned into mixed martial arts. Probably the biggest accomplishment would be winning the BJJ Fanatics Grand Prix, beating some really high-level ADCC medalists there, getting a submission against Jean-Gabriel Rocha at Kasai, he's an ADCC silver medalist. The lockdown hasn't affected my training. We were always going to find a way to train, whether it be out in the open or by covert means. It's definitely affected the gyms that I've trained at. A lot of them were forced to shut down, and I was planning on relocating to Texas, but the lockdowns definitely expedited that process. This being a single match as opposed to a tournament, the strategy is definitely different. It's no longer an endurance event where you're going to need to recover in between matches. It's just a one-off, so if you expend all of your energy in this match, it's totally fine. Because of that, it's probably going to be a higher paced match. I don't really worry too much about palm strikes, but if I get into a dominant pin, then I'm going to be looking to use strikes to open up submissions. I know Damm's game fairly well. I've seen every bit of footage that there is available to see on him. He has a pretty similar style to my own. He enjoys the Kimura, leg locker, very good at these ZBI overtime rounds, good at the back, both offensively and defensively. It'll be interesting to see who's able to implement this style more effectively. The fact that Dan is primarily a jiu-jitsu player as opposed to an MMA fighter doesn't really affect my strategy coming into this match at all.
You should probably maybe settle down and wait for a better.
Oh, there it is! Kyle Bain makes quick work of Travis Moore. That was beautiful.
I'm gonna come into the match and implement my A game and throw that at whoever it is, regardless of whether or not they're a professional jiu-jitsu competitor or a professional MMA fighter. You can expect to see me going out and going for the kill the entire time and looking to finish my opponent every chance I get. It'll just be a clashing of two guys that haven't lost in this rule set in years. I'm undefeated in this rule set since I've had my black belt, and we'll see.
My name is Dan Martinez. I am a black belt under Bamboo and Rob Khan, and I represent Gracie Pack and the Gracie Tampa Network. Some of my accomplishments in jiu-jitsu competition have obviously been the Combat Jiu-Jitsu World's middleweight title, ADCC competitor. I was a finalist at the trials, which is how I eventually got in. First place at No-Gi Worlds. I have won countless sub-only tournaments, finishers and Ultimate Mat Warriors and Olympus and Zapatero, number of tournaments, and I really, that's probably one of the formats I enjoy competing in the most, so this is one of them. It feels awesome to be invited to Cancun. Obviously, who doesn't want to travel there? It's fun. I can't wait. It's a little different than a bracket, of course. Bracket, you in theory are looking for multiple matches, but I think this just gives me one opportunity, and that's it, to showcase my skills. I'm obviously very excited to be in Cancun, and definitely more excited to be headlining a card. So I can't wait. I don't think my strategy changes being in one match as opposed to a full bracket. I think what changes is it's just one strategy as opposed to multiple, right? So if you've watched me compete in the past in, for example, a 16-man bracket, that's 4 matches to the final, and you'll see me play 4 different styles, 4 different strategies as opposed to one. Okay, a lot of guys compete and their plan is to force their strategy on somebody, and either it worked and they won, or it didn't work and didn't win. Where I tend to adapt to who I'm facing. So with facing one person, it just gives me that one strategy as opposed to having to switch depending on a different opponent. Unless, of course, the strategy is not working, and then we go to plan B. I have not faced Kyle Boehm yet. I've seen him compete plenty of times, and big, strong guy. I believe he'll probably be cutting to make 205. Strong Kimura attack, strong leg attacks, strong guard, especially for a big guy. Very strong back control if it were to get there. So I'm excited. I think we match up really well. We both have similar styles, as in his strengths are some of my strengths as well. But of course, going back to what I said earlier about the strategy, there's areas of his game that I feel like are weak, and it's going to be my job to exploit that. We don't come from MMA backgrounds, but prefer jiu-jitsu. I don't think it changes anything. I think it more invites my style, as I think it'll invite more of his, because we're going to be there to essentially submit each other, right? Whether he looks to strike or whether I look to strike, I don't think it'll play a big factor in this match. I think we're both so talented at our pure jiu-jitsu where, sure, the strikes will be a factor, but I don't think either of us preferring to strike will be the factor in the match. I think, like I said earlier, I think it invites each one of our styles. The fact that I know he wants to grapple, he knows I want to grapple, and that's pretty much what we're going to do. I think the addition of palm strikes changes the grappling game and what attacks you commit to the most and what guards and positions you commit to the most. Preferably, you'd rather be on top, some would think. I felt comfortable on my back with MMA fighters and grapplers and all kinds of strikes. But like I said earlier, I don't think it's the factor that changes. I don't think it's the factor that changes the outcome of the match. I just think it's something you have to get used to and something you have to be able to implement your strategy despite getting some strikes. What I enjoy from CJJ as opposed to traditional no-gi is obviously the striking factor. Having to watch out for it, whether striking is my strategy or not. it's something I have to watch out for, whether I'm doing it or someone from bottom or top is landing it on me. So I think that aspect, that challenge, that extra part of the match, I love a challenge, and I think it adds a lot of excitement to anybody else watching the match, but I don't think it's going to change any of the outcomes. My initial thoughts about CJJ were, it's pretty crazy, for sure. It had to be on Fightpass, right? I think at the time they were looking to implement some up kicks, and I was like, whoa, that'll be a crazy match, but I've said it my whole career, and I still say it to this day, I will compete in any format, whether I prefer it or not. So competing in CJJ and obviously being successful and winning the middleweight title was huge for me, because that was another format that I was able to compete in successfully. But it doesn't change my strategy, it doesn't change my game, it doesn't change my mentality, it doesn't change anything inside. It's just another match, another jiu-jitsu match with somebody, and that's it. I think my style of jiu-jitsu benefits this rule set because of my adaptability. I can play top, I can play bottom, I can attack the legs, defend the legs, pass the guard, play the guard. So whether the strikes are a big factor in affecting the strategy I had prior, I think I'm able to quickly switch up. I will play the strikes, I can eat the strikes, I'll play top, play bottom, and if the match isn't going my way for some specific reason due to the strikes, I'm able to change. You can expect fireworks, absolutely, from myself, and I'm expecting fireworks from Kyle as well, especially with it being one match. It's not a 16-man bracket or anything, so we just have one match, one time to go, one pace, and I'm excited. It's gonna be a great match, and it will be a finish.
Because I want to strike. I'm here to strike. I'm trying to hurt someone.
I hope that I make my country proud, and I hope that I make my teammates proud. I just hope I fight well. That's all I ever ask for. Win or lose, I want to be proud of the way I fought.
I still train every day. I keep my focus, my dedication, and I never give up.
So what I enjoy about combat jiu-jitsu is that part. I want to be able to slap people, because
I'm excited to come in and get TKOs across the board. Honestly, I intend to have no mercy.
Mexico has been on my list of places I want to go for a while, so I'm excited for this opportunity to go there and compete and hopefully see Cancun a little bit and get to experience. I've heard it's super beautiful.
You're gonna have to deal with the slaps. You know, when you're going in for a leg lock entry and they're open to slapping, you know, you're gonna have to deal with it. So, you know, it might limit your jiu-jitsu in some ways, but it forces you to be comfortable getting hit.
I'm excited. I can guarantee you he's going to be coming out for the finish, and so am I. I don't see this one going to overtime. I think it's going to be a shootout.
You can expect to see me going out and going for the kill the entire time.
So we just have one match, one time to go, one pace, and I'm excited. It's gonna be a great match, and it will be a finish.